This is like EU4 but HD. Obviously we have mods like Voltaire's Nightmare and stuff like that, but I feel like that's kind of an overcorrection for the lack of, you know, attention to detail that EU4 base does have. This mod Atlas Novum is kind of in the middle, I think, and I think it's gonna be pretty cool. Though I mean, looking at all the new provinces, I'm sure my game is gonna run pretty dang slow. 1 like equals $1 towards a new processor for my poor computer. Now my understanding is that it is intended to be kind of very realistic and true to the time period. Like a lot of these hordes are literally nomadic. Like they don't control a whole lot of land, but they've got a lot of tribal land. Nations like Castile are still very large diplomatically, but you got to kind of look into this sort of screen to see what really happens. They've got a junior partner of Leon and then a bunch of domains over here in the south. So there's definitely a whole lot more depth to, you know, the starting map at least. This mod is super ambitious and I think it's been in development for quite a long time. I think it was shelved for a minute and then they brought it back. I don't actually know the exact story, but if you do know more about it, let us know in the comments. For the sake of my computer, I am 100% getting rid of the natives. I don't have time for that. Obviously there's a different projection. Greenland is very big, for example. Which is accurate, is in real life as well. The religious map mode, mostly Catholic with lots of Orthodox. You can see lots of Sunni over here, but we've got like Apostolic, which I guess you could consider Coptic. But then we've got a bunch of different religions that are not really represented in vanilla. Like the Tengrists are basically only in their homelands, whereas it's Shamanist, Uralic, Sunni in the rest, despite, you know, there being Tengrist nations all over the place. Definitely looking forward to seeing the religious map mode at the end. I think that's going to be pretty dang cool. Oh, and I had mentioned Apostolic being Coptic. Coptic is different. It's split off, right? Obviously, I know in real life they were different, but in EU4, they're generally shown as the same. The UI looks quite different as well. We've got cultural majorities, minorities, all this custom GUI. Very cool. Don't really know how deep I'm going to dive into that stuff for a video, but if you guys want to see more in-depth stuff like this about these mods, let me know. Either way, if we want to find out what's going to happen, there's only one way to do that. It's to turn it on up to speed 5 and unpause. Oh yeah, the initialization is underway and my game is running at like an absolute slideshow pace. Once nations decide all their allies and stuff like that, it should run much quicker. I'm sure of that. There we go. We're finally moving at not so much of a snail's pace. I don't think we're going to 1821, but we'll at least get into absolutism, see what happens. The fact that there's so many more provinces and so many more nations, like just look over here. This is crazy. There's like 18 nations in this very small vicinity. Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. Safe to see the HRE is quite different. We've got von Habsburg over here of Inner Austria, which is not to be confused with regular Austria. So they both have von Habsburgs and they are ruled under a vassalarship, which I think is actually kind of appropriate, but for some reason I think it's for gameplay purposes they didn't show them separately in 1444. But yeah, they just want the emperor to be strong in the beginning, which I understand. I feel like that's reasonable. Regardless, 133 princes and 28 free cities, gaining 0.09 imperial authority rather per month, which, yeah, there you go. If they could get this land back over here from the Teutons, as well as this land from Burgundy, they'd be able to make some serious growth. So got to keep our eyes on that. Autoblob's full annex to Karaman. Rip those guys. And Ming is already collapsing. My goodness, how is that happening? War for tribute of the Oirat. They've got 75,000 troops, but yeah, Mandate ain't looking so good, and they're going to be taking a whooping in these wars, I'm sure of that. Well, the 100 Years' War has gone on for quite a while. They ended up taking quite a bit of land over here, but poor Normans, not feeling so well. Every single one of these provinces has like 90% plus devastation. So Normandy has been depopulated, I think. And it looks like Gascony also has been depopulated, but the French at least took it. So there you go. Ottomans annexed Wallachia, so they have crossed the Danube, and Byzantium is also gone, and likewise very, very devastated. What I'm seeing is a lot of wars where people are occupied for like 4 or 5 years, full occupied, and they like just will not give up the land. Ming ended up taking land from Oirat, crossing what I assume is the Gobi Desert. Yeah, Gobi Desert. So yeah, we're seeing some movement of some borders. The sheer number of tags is just like mind-boggling, and the game is running very slow. I hate to say that mods like this are just kind of weighed down by the engine, but they really are. I would love to see an engine update where they just get rid of a bunch of the bloat and improve calculation algorithms and all that, but sadly, we're not going to get that for EU4. I think EU5 is going to be announced here very shortly. I'm guessing October. That's my guess. What do you guys think? Well, China has collapsed. It's like 1470 something. The game's running super slow. It's been running for like over an hour, and yeah, we're not really pushing too hard. Ming is very, very small now, or at least very spread out. They got the Hunan or Huanan or whatever over here, and that's about it. A couple of small little exclaves, but yep, they're dead. Ottomans are not expanding a whole lot, but they've got quite a bit of rebels going on right now, so we're gonna have to keep our eyes on them. A little bit of expansion over here in the Emerald Isle by this Ivich, or however I don't know any Celtic. That is a freaky language. And it does look like Normandy has recovered, as has Gascony, but borders haven't changed a whole lot, though. To be fair, borders are there's so many provinces. It's very hard to keep track of everything. We do have Danzig popping out over here, and they're independent right now, so we'll see how things go with that. And it does look like Lithuania is independent from Poland, or at least that's my assumption. I'll have to take a look here. Muscovy has definitely expanded quite a bit up into the north, eating a large chunk of Novgorod, with Karelia popping free as well. And no, Lithuania is actually a PU of Poland. There's just a lot of little nations around them that they got to start picking through. We have Styria over here, still the emperor. We've got quite a bit more imperial authority growth going on, down to 101 princes from what I think was like 130 something. So lots of consolidation, but things are slowly picking up. They have not passed any reforms, and you know, Reformation is probably only 20 to 30 years away, so probably not going to see the HRE do well. And I should have looked at this in the beginning, but I forgot. So we're going to take a look 30 years in. We've got France, the #1 great power, with 1,300 development, followed by Poland with 16. England with 900, Ottomans with freaking almost 2,000. So once they embrace the institutions, they will be shooting up, and we'll have to take a look at those institutions as well. Inner Austria, Venice, Gurkhani, which is the Timurids, Denmark, Burgundy, Ming, Portugal, and Bohemia, rounding out the top 12. And yes, we certainly have different institutions here. We start with writing, going into bureaucracy, going into landed estates, which we don't have going on over here just yet. We've got scholasticism, and then we've got commercialism. Most of these are, you know, Eurocentric as well. Finance, then we've got, so finance has not spread just over here quite yet, and we've got the Renaissance, which is mostly just over here in Europe, except Bohemia gets nothing, I suppose. So with all these new institutions, things are definitely going to be looking different in the long term, so that's pretty cool. Well, it's almost 1500. The Reformation is right around the corner. We're at about 86-87% reform desire, and Poland, Lithuania is currently beating the tar out of the Ottomans. Look at all the devastation going on down here. 70% over here. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Also, they never moved their capital to Constantinople, which is mildly hilarious. But would you believe it if I told you that they are the defender in a crusade? And the numbers are incredibly lopsided. The Ottomans lost quite a few men, most of them in battle, actually. So yeah, safe to say that Varna is being avenged as we watch this. Very excited to see what happens with the piecing of this war, and if anybody wants to dogpile on them. We're almost to Admintech 10. Muscovy probably going to form Russia, looking quite good. And it looks like this Ulug Ulus has settled down. I believe Ulus means like horde, basically. I'm pretty sure it means horde. I could be wrong though. So the land over here, still unsettled, but land over here, and I think this is the Volga? The Volga, yeah. The Volga has been settled, so that's pretty cool. Timmy didn't really collapse, so they're looking okay. Also, shout out Pink Farce. Not as good as Yellow Farce, but you will suffice. Ethiopia doing pretty good over here with the brightest Ogaden I have ever seen in my life. Didn't even look at Sub-Saharan Africa till just now, but that's a mess. Believe it or not, China has actually consolidated a bit, with Ming taking back some land, I believe. Down here in the south, I don't think they had this before. So we'll see how things go with that. But Manchu up here is like 5 or 6 provinces. Very funny to see. And Japan is doing Japan. We're slow to the colonial game as well. No colonization going on just yet, so we'll have to keep our eyes peeled. Oh, I lied. Castile is in Haiti. Okay, very cool actually. But I do believe that's it. I believe that is it. So the Reformation is right around the corner. I think it's probably still just going to be the 2 reformations that you normally see in vanilla, but hey, we're gonna have some fun with it. Yeah, so Reformation is here, and the HRE is not handling it well. Not handling it well at all. And yes, it is just Protestant and Reformed, like I had mentioned before. Though it is pretty cool to see a Hussite Moravia down here. Shout out the Hussites. Very cool. We do have the Church of England as well, and we've got quite a few Reformation centers rolling around here. I believe I am counting 5 Reformed centers of Reformation, and likewise 5 Protestants. So yeah, lots of them. Also, shout out EAS, the Republic over here in wherever this is. Very funny to see. They're actually pretty big. That's kind of funny. Work in progress. The mod is still definitely an alpha. But yeah, Protestantism very strong in the north and over here in like the eastern Germany, Czechia areas, as you would expect, with Reformed in Scotland and Switzerland. Not in the Low Countries just yet, but you know, there's still time. Who there is not time for is likely the Osmans, with Poland coming back for more. As you can see, they took all the land down here, even crossed the Danube down here into Poland. They annexed Lithuania, so we'll probably see a Commonwealth if I had to guess. The Mamluks are actually doing quite good up here, and the Ottomans are just crumbling. They are looking very sad. Timmy managed to annex a couple of their subjects, but it looks like they also lost some land to Khorasan, who is also their subject. So still a toss-up. Not sure what to expect over here. China is, you know, China, though Korea, perfect 1444 borders, I do believe, with, you know, Yamana being okay over here. Ashikaga still has they lost Kyoto, which I think this is Kyoto, but I don't know. This map is crazy. India blobs be India blobbin, and Ogaden has been split up between a bunch of different people, and it looks like Ethiopia maybe has snaked up the Nile River a bit. Though I'm not sure if they've gotten any more over here. Same thing over here in sub-Saharan Africa. Very messy, just absolute chaos over here. Though I do love seeing a big pink Kabu. I love that almost as much as I love the homies. Shout out to homies. Meanwhile, colonization still very slow. We've got Dominica, which is very cool, but that's it. It's 1540, so I guess you can call this a little more realistic than vanilla. So yeah, Brabant is the emperor, and I think we're probably seeing a pretty strong Catholic game. So if I had to guess, the Catholics would win the League War, but you know, time will tell. But I am just seeing the Ottomans get beat up is just chef's kiss. So 100 years into the game, Castile is the #1 great power, but how about that development for Poland? Pretty dang crazy. Castile has most of their development, or a large portion of it, tied up in subjects. Poland, mostly their own. France, also very scary, probably on par with Poland, give or take, if I had to guess. The MAM's actually doing pretty good, over 3,000 development, so quite a bit of development in this mod, with a drop off to 1,900 for Portugal. Bohemia, Inner Austria, still hanging in over there. The Pope Man, the #8 great power, which is kind of crazy. Then we have Venice, the Ottomans, though not for long, followed by England and Denmark, still in the great powers list. So let's take a look here at the Pope Man. Is it really just this? Is it really just, there's that much development over here? I guess that's it. There's just a lot of development over here. Oh my gosh, 100 dev? Okay, dev is definitely different in this mod. Dev is definitely different in this mod. Wealth progress, population progress. Oh my gosh, this mod is so much deeper than I thought it was. Well, we've covered 47 years, I believe, in about 2 hours. So I'm my patience is running thin, but I will watch this game for you guys. I will roast my computer alive just for you watching. We're seeing a lot of rise and fall of nations. France has seemingly collapsed. Spain has formed and then seemingly collapsed. Though I do imagine it's almost certainly an issue with governing capacity, because these guys are all subjects. Like even Poland released Lithuania as a subject. So I think that might need looked at. There's so much development that these nations can't handle the governing capacity. And the Ottomans seemingly can't handle anything because they are... they're reeling. Shout out Big Albania. Always got to give that some credit when you see it. Inner Austria is just Austria now, and Hungary is looking very good, as is Bohemia. Pomerania is formed. Lots of cool stuff going on. The Emperor of the HRE is Lippe, or however that is pronounced, so take from that what you will. And England cannot subjugate the Scots, but Ulster very well may subjugate all of the Irish. Just like Muscovy is able to unite the steppes as well as all of Russia outside of Novgorod. And they can't form Russia because they don't have Novgorod. So that's going to be a tough one for them. 54,000 troops. That's pretty crazy. Oh, hold on a minute. Poland alone has over 100 and then another 24 from Lithuania. And that doesn't include any of their little subjects over here. So yeah, Muscovy is never going to get Novgorod. India's fairly stable from what I can tell, as is the disunited China. Not really seeing a whole lot of border changes except for, you know, Ming collapsing even more. Japan and Korea look roughly the same, though Mongolia is definitely seeing some changes. Definitely. I'm not even gonna take the time to look at any of this because this is just like a war crime. But don't worry, guys. Perfect square border Egypt cannot hurt you. The colonial game is still super slow. We've got Dominica over here. They've made it over to the Bahamas. We have like three provinces over here for Newfoundland going to the Danes, and 2 provinces over here, which is Spanish. And just at a quick glance, I can tell you the development is just absolutely atrocious in this game. There is no wonder in my mind why it runs so slow, because look at this. 6,000, 6,700, and then 3.5, 3.3, 3.1. Like every nation has crazy development. The lowest development in the great powers list is 1300, and it's only 1587. That's, golly, that's crazy. Well, it's 1604, and as is tradition with big overhaul mods for EU4, the game is crashing for seemingly no reason. I cannot figure it out, and I've restarted my game like 5 times, and the game is running really slow and crashing every time this the year ends. So we're gonna call it here. We do have a beautiful green Lombardy, which is formed. Pretty cool. I don't know who formed it. I was thinking Venice, but Venice is actually still alive, kind of. I don't know, man. Albania is continuing to thrive, but Moria is actually probably like the major guy in Greece, which that's pretty cool. I think the Ottomans are like a couple of provinces, 3 or 4 provinces. I don't know where their capital is, but yeah, they're done. Yeah, they're gonna get annexed, I'm sure of that. Actually, it looks like Damascus has popped out of the Mamluks, and they're not looking good either. Very stagnant for the last 100 years or so. Spain ended up incorporating land over here in Naples, which is pretty cool. And then France is still doing okay. They lost quite a few of their subjects, and it looks like Spain is having some issues with a liberty desire in theirs. Same old going on over here in Eastern Europe with Poland, Lithuania, just staring down Muscovy. Muscovy's expanded a bit up here into Karelia and Finland, but yeah, I don't think it matters a whole lot. I think it's actually messier out here in China than it was last time we looked. Japan, I think, is about the same. India, still like lots of blobs, but no real consolidation. We finally have someone else in the New World with Portugal. Danish Canada has formed, and Spanish Gaspesi. Don't ask me, man. I don't know. Yeah, definitely a lack of colonial competition. Definitely a lack. Though it does actually look like Portugal has been kind of going down around the coast of Guinea down here. So maybe they're doing a little bit more than I originally thought, but yeah, nobody's even into South Africa yet. Poland, the number 1 great power, Spain, the number 2, but it is very much neck and neck. And if Spain can get some extra colonization off, they will take the spot. Mamluks are actually number 3, which is crazy. I would not have guessed that. With Denmark, number 4, integrating Sweden and Norway. Very good for them. Bohemia, actually, in the 5th spot, neck and neck with Denmark, as well as Inner Austria here. Or it's just a 500 or 400 point spread between the 3 of them. Portugal in 7th, England in 8th, France in 9th, despite losing a ton of land to subjects. Lombardy in the 10th spot, who formed in northern Italy. The Pope man here in 11th still, and then Muscovy in the 12th spot. The fact that they can't form Russia is very much a harm. Religiously, it's all still very Catholic, but the Protestants in the north are definitely not to be trifled with. We do end up having some reformed in the Low Countries, like I had mentioned, but Protestant over here in parts of Holland, and then Reformed and Anglican are just like chicken pox all over the British Isles. We have quite a bit of Orthodox going on down here in Greece, and Sunni over here. It's still actually quite a big mess over here in this Levant Fertile Crescent area. We've got Alawite, which is apparently an Islamic heresy. We've got Alevi, which is also an Islamic heresy. So that's kind of cool to see a little bit of representation with that. Apostolic Christians do still exist over here, which is pretty sweet. And Coptic still going very strong down here in Abyssinia. They even got some love to the natives. We got Wagana down here and Thunga down here, as well as Mahondoro. So all of the guys down here in Africa getting a little bit of that flavor, though sadly it doesn't look like many of the religions have any flavor for them. Yeah, none of them have unique mechanics. Either way, that's pretty cool. Culturally, you already know it's going to be a mess with a mod like this. Still have lots of Greeks over here in Anatolia. The Turkish group is looking a little weird. Sure beats the Levantine group though in vanilla. I'll take this. Even this one is still pretty nutty. Andalusian is part of the Levantine group. That's nuts. Always cool to see Irish and English in separate groups. Even Welsh and Breton are separate from those two. So there you go. Didn't know there was really a discrepancy. I thought they were all just considered Celtic. This is what I'm talking about, like the attention to detail. Like there's just 2 provinces over here that belong to a completely unique culture group. That's crazy. Same thing out here. The Yakuts have like 5 provinces, and it's just, they just give them over here. But yeah, big mods like this means a big mess in basically every map mode. Can't say it's for me. It's definitely still a work in progress, and you can tell that, but obviously a lot of love has gone into this mod. If you want to check it out, I'm going to link it in the description. If you have a suggestion for a mod or something you'd like to see in my next video, make sure you leave it in the comments down below. If you want to support me, you can check out my Patreon as well. If you like the video, leave a like on it. I appreciate that a ton. If you haven't already subscribed, you're missing out on weekly videos. And for making it all the way to the end of the video, I want to say I appreciate you. I hope you have a good one. I'll see you in the next one.